Hello, everyone. I am here with my friend Gina, who has written a book called Burnt Gloveboxes, which is quite the attention grabbing title. And she is an expert on writing humor. So, welcome to the podcast, Gina.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
What what made you want to write a book about all of these crazy experiences that have happened in your life?
Yeah, it's so funny. Crazy like Murphy's Law situations seem to happen quite frequently to us. Sometimes there's poor choices in there from time to time, but when I tell these stories to my friends or family members who weren't involved in the stories, they kept saying, "You got to write a book one day. These stories are so great." And I thought, yeah, that would be really awesome to do a book. And so this has been in the making for, gosh, I have been saying I've wanted to write a book for a little over 20 years now. So,
Yep, I know how that is. So finally it came together. And what route did you take for publishing? Did you do it independent or hybrid? Did you find a traditional publisher?
yeah, that's a great question. So, when I was thinking about doing this, I always knew I wanted to write the book, but I always thought, what, what then? Like, how do you find a publisher? I didn't know that whole process. And luckily, I'm part of a women's networking group, and there's a hybrid publisher in my group, Debbie Keevan, and she's with Highlander Press. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll reach out to her, and I had already at that point um, been had written my first kind of piece of my transcript. And so I reached out to her and asked her if she would be interested in taking a peek at it. And she was, which was, I was thrilled with. So yeah, that's who I ended up going with the hybrid. And some people do self-publishing and they're very successful with it. I found the hybrid to be really helpful because I got to learn a lot about the whole like book writing process and the marketing and like all the facets that go into creating a successful book.
Yeah, there's so many things you don't know, and it's hard to be an expert on all of them.
Yes, exactly. So I depended on, kind of depended on them to kind of provide some guidance, and it's been a great experience. So
Deborah has been a guest on the podcast before too, so
nice.
we love Deborah. She lives near me, actually.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
great.
So your book launched, and did it meet your expectations? Was it the launch everything that you hoped it would be?
It was. It it was crazy. It launched on May 9th, and luckily they did. Highlander Press. They did prepare the folks that were in my writing cohort for book releases. They prepared us pretty well for it, and so it was so exciting to actually like finally have this work that I had been saying for years that I'm going to do to finally get it out there to folks. And it's received so much. I've gotten, received so many great comments about it. It's clean humor. And so I have moms reading it to their kids for bedtime stories and different things like that. And really, my goal was to uplift people. There's so many serious things and sad things in our world. And I really felt that like this is my legacy, my gift, if you will. What I will leave behind is at least bringing some laughter and smiles to our world.
Oh, I love that. What a fantastic goal. I didn't think
Yes.
to read it to my kids. I should do that.
Yeah. They're having fun. They're taking pictures of bedtime stories with their kids. So I think it's awesome.
What tips do you have for people about finding the humor in our everyday lives?
Yeah, that's a great question because not everything's humorous. And sometimes, like in the given moment, where you're about ready to rip your hair out or cry, you know, I guess, I don't know. Like I've always had more of a lightheartedness and kind of, Seinfeldish, being able to just like mock things that happen or, just be sarcastic about it, if you will. And so I guess just, you know, trying to find the lightness in it. Life's way too short. And yes, there are things that are not humorous and that you really are not going to find humor in, tremendous losses, different things like that. But like these silly things that happen in life, I think that there's always something that you can tap into to find the humor.
Very nice. Yeah. So you were writing it while still working a full-time job. Is that right?
Yep. Yep. I am a full time social worker, medical social worker by trade. And I got rigged into, I will call it rigged into, NaNoWriMo in 2021 is when uh, Jill Celeste, another writer, had told me about NaNoWriMo. And I said, well, what is that? Like, how much is it? She said, it doesn't cost anything. You just set a goal. And she knew that I had a goal to write a book someday. And I thought, well, what the heck? Might as well do it. My husband and I were already opening another business at the time. I'm working full time. So just throw writing a book
Yeah,
in.
put another thing
Yeah.
in there. Why not?
So yeah, so I would stay up late at night and just peg away. And I'm finding like the older I get, like the the outcome of that isn't the best because I'm so wiped out in the morning. But I find that's my most creative time is at
Hmm,
night. Hmm.
interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I'm better in the morning.
And there are a lot of people who, are able to write in the morning, and me, I'm just get me to my coffee pot. So
It's such an interesting combination, writing these humorous stories and being a social worker, because I think there's just it's a brutal profession. There's a lot of sad stories that go in there. So I'm sure that that humor helps you to balance it out of your soul.
absolutely. Yeah. A lot of what I work in uh, is I work with our nation's heroes, our veterans. And I I really dig in to help them to find resources and different things like that. But I have done a lot of like mindfulness classes through my employer, and stress relief classes. And so humor is a huge stress reliever. So it's really fitting also in, social work in the profession,
Fantastic. Yeah.
hmm
What do you think gives you the confidence about your humorous writing? Like, what makes you think, yes, this actually is funny, and other people will also find it funny?
Oh gosh, that's such a great question. I'm still working on the confidence part. I think I always will be. I've always thought my stories are hilarious, and my family do, and my friends do. But they all know me, right? So when I submitted my pieces to Debbie, I was really nervous about when we were going to meet to talk about it because I wasn't sure if a publisher would actually think the same as what I'm thinking. And my fear was like, never pick up a pen again, Gina. Don't do this. Don't quit your day job. Um,
But that wasn't
so
what happened. She found it
that,
humorous.
right. Yeah. She loved the couple of stories that I submitted to her. And she had said that my writing is real close to like that of Irma Bombeck. And I thought, well, wow, that's quite a compliment. So I was really happy to hear her say that. I think the biggest thing that has been helping my confidence with it is having people, come to me and say, "Oh my gosh, these stories are freaking hilarious," right? And I always said from the very beginning, if I can make one person smile and brighten their day, then I've accomplished all my goals, because that's what I wanted, just one person. And I've had quite more than one person that, so um yeah, mission achieved.
Excellent. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that reminds me of my feeling. I self-published. I started self-publishing about 20 years ago,
sure.
and I had first wanted to be traditionally published, and I was going through all the stuff that you do, like querying and everything, and getting rejections. And I thought I need the validation of a publisher putting their stamp of approval and saying this is a good book. But once the book comes out, you get so much of that from the readers.
Yes.
Once you connect with those people who are actually enjoying your book, it's like, okay, yes, I have done a good thing. I feel validated.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's the thing. Like I've always loved the stories of folks who have reached huge success, and reading about all the times, and it's not even failures, it's like where they were told no, but they kept on pushing and pushing and pushing, and then they made it, right? So I've always loved that, and there's a lot of that in the writing world, like reading about Stephen King and how many denials he got, how many no's. You know it's across the board with many real popular writers. So I feel really really fortunate, because I know a lot of people who have gotten those rejection letters, and how much of a punch in the gut that must be. I feel really fortunate that Debbie took on my project.
Yeah, it sounds like it was really
The
meant
very
to be.
first. Yeah, I just feel like she dropped into my lap, and like it was meant to be. It all worked out really, really well. So I'm really grateful for that.
That's really great. Do you have any plans to write a sequel?
I do actually. From the very beginning, I wanted this to be similar to Chicken Soup for the Soul,
Mm.
but instead of like inspirational stories, we're going to have Murphy's Law stories, because I found that as I told people my stories, they're like, "Oh, really? I've got a story for you. Listen to this one." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. That would be great in one of these books." So when I was doing my outline of story title ideas, I would jot their stories down too. And so the um, the piece, the whole thing that I submitted to Debbie, my transcript, because each book genre has a certain amount of pages that are typical for that genre. She told me, "Gina, we got to split this into two books."
Oh, wow.
So the second book is already actually written, and I just have to do the beginning and the end part. And I have 5 stories in there from other people at the very tail end of it, and they're called my Burnt Glovebox community, and that will launch our anthology. And so, yeah, so the next book will be coming out next year, the second half. There's the thought. And so that'll be Burnt Gloveboxes 2 or whatever. I don't know what our official title is going to be yet. And then we're going to be also working on getting together the software, all the stuff that we need to do submission, accepted submissions from other people.
That
Yeah,
would be my next question.
yeah. So that'll be animal stories. We're going to do animal stories. That it can be any kind: zoo animals, farm animals, pets, just crazy stuff that happens with animals.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, you'll have to let me know when submissions are up. We can update the description here and put the link in.
Yeah, that would be great.
So right now we have the link to your ginaramsey.com or author.com. I've already
Yes.
forgotten. So and you're looking to connect with more people, sell more books, be a speaker.
Yes. Yeah, I'm interested in, on my webpage, I have like several topics that I can speak on. And I'm also helping out the humor writer community as well. I attended an Irma Bombeck conference, and a bunch of people in that, I attended virtually. So a bunch of the people in our virtual piece of it said, "Oh, it'd be so cool to have a humor writing group." And networking. And so I'm one of 3 facilitators for that. And the requirement is you had to have attended the Irma Bombeck conference. But we're bringing in guest speakers, so other writers and authors can, like, if they want to write a book and they don't know what's next, like where I was located, a couple of years ago, we were able to bring them the professionals in the field to learn how to do those things. So it's been really successful. So I love doing that. I encourage folks, if they, have questions or need resources, they can reach out to me and I can help to get them connected with the different experts. So
I did not even know that there was an Irma Bombeck conference.
it is. It's the largest. It's the largest humor. It's claimed to be the best humor writing conference, and I mean they have some top speakers there. And I plan to go. The next conference will be in April of this coming year, and so a bunch of us are planning to attend or in person. So
Oh, fun.
yeah.
Oh, that is great.
Yeah.
Humor writing can be so subjective, and it's like there's a mindset piece in there. Like, I wrote something that I thought was really funny, and some people thought it was funny, and then I submitted it in a class, and the teacher was like, "That's not humorous at all." Maybe I'm terrible at humor. Maybe it's not funny at all.
Right.
But
that's what I find too. Yeah, that was what I was worried about too. Is because it is so subjective. What some people think is funny, other people are like, I don't find. Same with the show Seinfeld. I'm caught up on that, but I love that sense of humor. But people either love it or they hate it. Is what I found. I've never found someone that's like, it's okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's really a key of finding your audience.
Yeah.
If you find it funny, there's bound to be other people that do, and you just have to find those people and be in community with them.
Yeah, and I think that's a key for any writer. That would be a suggestion that I have. It's finding your ideal audience. And if somebody is, not a fan of your writing, I always like to try to be kind to people, regardless if I, love it or it's not up my alley. But there's in our technical world now that people sit behind a screen and they can be really mean. So, luckily I haven't found that yet for myself, but yeah, I just would like to encourage other writers, just keep doing what you do and you will find your ideal audience.
Yeah, I agree. That was my experience too.
Yeah.
So how would you like for people to connect with you?
Oh, sure. They can go on my website, GinaRamseyAuthor.com. I have a space on there where, if you want to join my newsletter, I also, if you put your name and email address in there, I can send you some free gifts. I got bookmarks for your book. Yeah. And I'm also on Facebook and LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways that folks can link with me, and yeah, and spread the word. Like, if you've read the book, or if you haven't, pick it up and let other people know about it. That's word of mouth is the best way to sell books. A referral from a friend or a family member. That's how you usually get that sale. So yeah, definitely recommend it if you love it. And also if you can purchase it from a number of different places, Amazon, indie bookstores can order it for you.
You
But
can actually
always
request, like if you want a physical copy, you can go into your library or local bookstore and ask them
abs
to order it.
absolutely. Yeah. And so, but I always, I really never knew. It sounds dumb. But I never knew how important those ratings are, putting in a review.
Mm.
And so until I got into this gig. So yeah, definitely if you love it, or even if you're like, oh gosh, there's areas that could use improvement or whatever, put in that honest review. I Those are so helpful to writers, to keep going in their craft.
Yeah, and reviews, honest reviews are very helpful for readers, even if it's negative, even if you hated it. When you put in why you hated it, that really helps other readers be like, oh, actually, that wouldn't bother me, or actually, I really like that kind of thing that you don't like, so I'm going to buy it. Like,
Yes.
negative reviews can still sell books.
Yeah, yeah. I did have one review from a gentleman who had purchased the book, and he had read all the reviews that say how hilarious it is. And that's those people's type of humor, right? But he said, and he really enjoyed the book, but he found a different meaning in the writing, and like how you overcoming, um, these mishaps that happen, and having that outlook of, rising above, the craziness. So his review was really interesting. He's like, I wasn't crying while I was laughing type of thing, but I received more, a different message from the book. So
Uh,
mhm.
and we all need more laughter and levity in our lives. So let's spread
We
the
sure
word,
do. Yes,
get this
yes.
series going.
Get everyone laughing.
Are there any final thoughts that you would like to leave us with today?
Oh, I just appreciate my fan base so far, and all the people such as yourself, like having me on your shows and stuff. It's been such a wild ride, and so I'm so happy. Like, I thought social work was my end all, and I really feel like this opened a door for what I'm really passionate about. I love writing, and I love helping other people in their writing journeys. So yeah, here I am. Ta-da!
Yay! Oh, that's wonderful. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending this time with us. And
Yeah.
I look forward to more volumes of Burnt Gloveboxes.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on your show. I appreciate it so much. Thanks, Carolyn.
Bye, everyone.